Hey, we're back, and we're here today with our first guest. We have two gentlemen from Vista Gardens Memory Care. We have Joe Balbas and Don Crowell. So, and I'm getting tongue twisted, so I'm sorry if I have butchered your name, Don. But welcome.
Good job. You did well.
Thanks. Okay, so tell us a little bit about Vista Gardens Memory Care. What do you do there?
We're a 99-bed Alzheimer's dementia facility. We're dedicated to Alzheimer's and dementia care.
Okay, so that's a little different than a normal assisted living type of facility, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Most assisted living facilities have about 20% Alzheimer's and dementia, and the rest are just one of us getting a little bit older and needing help.
Okay. So, and you're located, obviously, in Vista. So tell us where you're located so people will know.
We're in Vista off of Sycamore and York, Sycamore, Santa Fe, and York. If you, along the railroad tracks where Santa Fe runs east and west, the Sprinter runs right along our building.
Wow.
We're on 5 acres, and we're gated.
Okay.
But people can see a virtual tour of the facility online, correct?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about what type of. I know we've talked about Alzheimer's and dementia, but let's talk about the type of services you provide to your clients. Tell us a little bit more about what you do for people and what makes you a little different than some of the other facilities in town.
Well, we looked around to see what was going on in Alzheimer's dementia care, and we noticed that it was hard to find a facility that catered to the needs, 100% facility of dementia and Alzheimer's patients. So we decided to design this from scratch with the needs of these people in mind. We've designed the building and indoor and outdoor activities based on the needs of Alzheimer's rather than just a normal assisted living person.
What would be different about their needs from other residents in other facilities in terms of day-to-day activities, in terms of their day-to-day lives?
Well, with Alzheimer's and dementia, and you have people that are in and out. What's meant by that is a moment's time goes by, and they'll hold on conversation like normal. And then a few minutes go by, and they've totally forgotten the conversation. That's different than what you have in assisted living. In assisted living, you have people that are pretty cognitive most of the time. We do not have that at Vista Gardens, and we've designed and we intend and do take care of people with that affliction.
So assisted living, what I'm getting out of that is assisted living addresses people that have more of a physical disability, and the Alzheimer's and dementia care is those that have, it could be physical, but there's more of a mental disability at that point.
That's correct. They have cognitive issues.
Mm-hmm. So, and I'm curious, what type of activities would you set up for folks at your facility?
We have, they start the day with a breakfast, of course. We have people that are available to walk them. With Alzheimer's and dementia, you have people who wander constantly. We have staff that'll take them outside and walk them prior to breakfast. After breakfast, there's an exercise program that starts immediately after breakfast. Mm-hmm. Some people participate, and some people prefer not to participate. We have easy chairs for those who prefer not to participate. Mm-hmm. We have 17 big screen TVs throughout the facility for people to sit and watch so they're not held up in their rooms.
How many residents are you set up to handle there?
We're set up to handle 99 residents. And
wow.
Just wanted to give you a little story about activities. And yesterday was the Rose Bowl game, of course.
Oh, yeah.
And we have our sports pub where we invited all of our residents to sit and watch the Rose Bowl and enjoy I think we had homemade pretzels and cheese and root beer. And they were, I think, as excited about the root beer as they were at the Rose Bowl game. But we had a full house.
That sounds like a fun place. I would have wanted to be there yesterday watching the Rose Bowl. I didn't have homemade pretzels in my house.
We also have a club for golf where men and women join. We have a putting green on our outdoor activities, and we get a group to go out and do some putting, and gardens where we pick vegetables. They plant vegetables and pick their vegetables, and our chef, cooks the vegetables in certain dinners. So we have a lot of things going on at Vista Gardens.
That's wonderful. And I don't really know much about Alzheimer's or cognitive issues, but I'm wondering if keeping them active and keeping them engaged, if that doesn't help with their cognitive abilities. Am I wrong in thinking that?
Not at all. That really is the primary issue, or the primary object of our care, is to keep the brain stimulated, to keep our residents out of their rooms and keep them active. We all like to engage. I think it's a natural sense in your inner being that you'd like to feel loved and wanted. That's the type of atmosphere that we have at Vista Gardens. We want everyone to be loved and wanted.
Well, you're listening to Close Up on San Diego Business here on KFSD AM 1450 and financialnewsandtalk.com. I'm your host, Barry Waxler, with my co-hosts Andrea Kay and Urban Miaris, and our guests, Joe Balbas and Don Crowell from Vista Gardens Memory Care.
Now, I also know that whether it's Alzheimer's or whether it's all other afflictions that seniors can have, one of the concerns that families have for their loved ones going into a facility is their safety. And I know that you guys put so much care into taking care of the residents' safety as well as their cognitive abilities. What approach do you take for the residents in that area?
Well, a little background. Our partner, Harry Crowell, is 65 years. I think it's 65 years with the Sheriff's Department. Those 65 years were done as a volunteer. He retired as a captain. Harry's big concern, and all of our big concern, is the safety of our residents, the abuse of our residents, the potential abuse of our residents. We are actively trying to have cameras initiated in our residents' rooms. This has been an issue that's been going on since 2011, and hopefully we're going to be getting some resolution before the end of this year. This will be exciting.
Why would there be issues about having cameras in the room? What would there be the objection on that?
We have the state telling us that there's a privacy issue for the cameras in the rooms.
But the residents or the resident's family could authorize you to circumvent that and put those cameras on so they can view their family members in there. Is that correct or not?
That's correct. We've offered them a waiver. These cameras are not turned on by us in any room, nor would we ever consider turning cameras on in any room other than rooms that are requested by the families. Mm-hmm. These waivers are signed and approved by the family members or resident and state, and we would give copies to the state.
Yeah, that for me, that's a great option to have, where you can keep an eye. I mean, we all know that every business out there has has businesses that are very competent, and there are businesses that are incompetent. And in the long-term care and the care facilities, there are plenty of really good facilities in town, but you still have to watch out to make sure that you found the right one. So that's a great option to me.
Now, we still have cameras in all the outdoor and common areas, so we can track our residents. If somebody did get out, we'd be able to find them, know where they are on the premises, and see what's going on in our common areas. So that has been allowed. We spent quite a bit of money to install in individual rooms, but we have not been allowed to turn them on, even though families have requested that we turn them on.
Yeah, because with memory issues, people can lose things, and then this way you would have some documentation.
Or think they've lost something.
Or think they've
and they
lost
didn't,
something.
Or something happened.
Yeah,
yes.
So to me, the voluntary, it's almost like a voluntary historical documentation.
We've utilized these cameras. We've had paramedics in the building, and with Alzheimer's and dementia, I believe the percentage of falls is 60% of the people with Alzheimer's and dementia will fall, and they will get hurt. We have had times that we were able to review these falls with the paramedics and fire department on how bad these falls were. Did they hit their head on the ground first? Were they able to cushion their fall? Cameras are very, very useful in taking care of people with Alzheimer's and dementia.
Yeah, well, I think cameras are useful in protecting all citizens in the prevention of crimes as well as the solving of crimes. But in terms of the affliction of Alzheimer's and other memory care issues, this is becoming an increasingly larger issue in our society as the baby boomer generation gets older. I was surprised to find out that every 58 seconds, you were telling me before the show, Don, every 58 seconds there's a diagnosis of
Oh,
this.
yes, it's growing. They say the next tsunami in healthcare is dementia. Alzheimer's is a form of dementia, actually, and there are a number of other dementias, but Alzheimer's is the number one as far as percentage-wise.
Right.
Yeah, that would seem to make a lot of sense, because I remember when I used to do some public seminars some years ago, one of the studies that we saw was the fastest growing segment of our population today is it how do you say it? Is it centurions? The people that are hitting 100 years
Yeah.
old. Okay, so
That used to be rare, but now it's becoming more and more common. You should see my 92-year-old mother-in-law. I mean, you would think she was, 65. But you were also telling me that there was more than 50,000 citizens in San Diego that have Alzheimer's or some sort of dementia issue, Don?
Yes, dementia in San Diego County itself, yes,
Well,
they have. And it's growing. I
And
mean,
that's
rapidly.
Right. And if you've got a family member with that, how do you care for them when you're trying to work a full-time job and you've got kids and you've got your own family and things to
Usually
take
the
care of?
families do care for them as long as they possibly can, but it takes a toll on the caregiver and the families. And we've had people come over, first of all, to drop them off for a day. Maybe the wife wants to go shopping, or maybe a couple, maybe they come in 3 or 4 days a week. And then they become to feel like Vista Gardens is home for them. They say, well, we can keep, and they actually move in and they start to visit them, but it relieves the toll on the caregiver and the loved one that's caring for them.
that's great, because I know my family, my dad, bless his heart, what a wonderful guy, all the way up until he was 84 years old, and he's getting ready for his 93rd birthday now. Him and his twin brother.
Oh,
Okay,
dear.
yeah. So, but no, for about 15 years, he took care of my mother, at home and without any help. 15 years, and she should have been in some type of a facility long ago, from anything from Parkinson's and MS and you name it. So she had it all.
And you know what? And for the family members who have this affliction, I would imagine that their lifestyle might improve to go into a facility. They probably fight the idea of it, but they're probably happier when they're there.
You would be amazed how many people come into the facility and to this day are still trying to tip us.
Yeah.
They're still saying, who do I pay for this dinner?
I've seen people come in when they look like sitting in a chair and their heads are down and they're not conversing or doing anything, and I come back a week later because they've been at home alone for much of the time and no social interaction, basically maybe a little exercise. So we provide exercise, social interaction, activities, and I'd come back a week or two later and they're up walking around with a smile. I can't believe it's the same person. So we see the transition.
Well, I'd be smiling too if I had access to homemade pretzels and homemade root beer. Now, you guys also have a library for them as well. And as a book reader myself, I love that.
That's the Ronald Reagan Library, and this was my uncle Harry was at a Reagan function, and Nancy learned that he had built this facility, and she said, "Harry, would you please name the library after Ronnie?"
Oh.
And so we had a dedication ceremony at our facility and also at the Reagan Library,
Yeah, that's great.
where our plaque has been.
Hey, we are running a little bit short on time, so before we finish up, please tell our listeners how they can get a hold of you, find you on the website, your phone number. If they want to get a free tour of the facility, please let us know.
Go ahead.
Okay, we're located at 1863 Devon Place in Vista, California. Phone number's 760-295-3900. It's vistagardensmemorycare.com, and we would love you to come up and see our beautiful facility.
Great. Well, we appreciate you being with us today. You're listening to Close Up on San Diego Business, where we get up.